Welcome, I'm Reichert. So you participate in the debate, can a territory be sustainable? First of all, can you tell us what is a sustainable territory?
Absolutely. Well, I think there's a wide variety of factors in making a territory sustainable. Today I'll be talking about a particular territory or city of which my incubator, GreenTown Labs, the largest clean tech incubator in the United States, is located, and the steps towards becoming a sustainable city. What is important here? So there are so many factors in being sustainable. So one of obviously is transportation. Another is how people live their lives in terms of the amount of energy and water and many other things that they use just on a daily basis. And then of course there's the industrial infrastructure in the region and also the municipal infrastructure. And so I think you need all of these things to be moving on the path towards being more sustainable. There are very few and probably no cities today that are carbon neutral. But what we need to do is set goals and move all cities towards being carbon neutral.
Step by step.
Step by step.
So how much will clean tech be a key factor in the fight against climate change then?
Well, as someone who runs the largest clean tech incubator in the United States, I obviously have a bias in terms of the answer to this question. But I believe that technology implementation is a very important part of the solution to climate change. So today we have many different aspects of our lives on all levels in which we use non-sustainable solutions. And so I think the opportunity is for entrepreneurs, large companies, small companies to develop new technologies that can change the way that we live our daily lives and make them more sustainable. This is what really needs to happen in order to move towards a carbon neutral future. So I think there are many different technologies that can play a part in there, whether or not it be about energy efficiency in buildings or residences or industries, whether it be energy storage or distribution methods that, frankly, a microgrid would be an example of a new way to think about how electricity is distributed. And then there are many other aspects to the use of energy, like, for example, the production of clean water uses a lot of energy. So how can we think about making that more energy efficient? So there are many different ways that technology can address these problems and come up with more sustainable solutions.
You were talking about carbon neutral cities, but just how much can the global economy thrive on a low carbon society?
I think that's a very good question, and I think the experience of my city and the state in which I reside and my business is in the United States, called Massachusetts, would tell a story that there can be a very positive outcome in terms of the economy. Since Massachusetts has really had a goal to promote clean energy, 100,000 jobs have been created in this state specifically around clean energy. And so that's in a time period of since 2008 to today. So you can get more jobs, which of course turns into greater livelihoods for many people. And these jobs have a wide variety of skills requirements. So for example, if you're talking about solar energy deployment, there are people that can be putting solar on roofs, and then that requires maybe a high school education. Then you go to the scientists that are figuring out the next generation of solar materials. So there's a professor or a PhD level education, and anything in between. So I think in general, if we have a cleaner economy, we're going to be creating a whole new set of jobs, and therefore overall pushing economies, countries, territories forward in terms of their economic development.
So if countries do make that shift towards, make the fight against climate change a priority for real, you're saying that it will have a huge positive impact on the economy.
I believe it will, and we have seen that it does have a huge positive impact on the economy. Massachusetts, again, the state in which my business is in the United States, has implemented many pro-clean energy policies. Its economy has also grown. in terms of jobs, but also just in terms of the gross product of the economy. And so there's a case study in how you can both push forward clean energy, push forward the number of jobs, and push forward the economy all simultaneously. And I think that's really the message that I'd like to share today, and specifically how cities can be a part of pushing forward on a more of a micro level on all of these fronts.
So how long specifically would it take for a city that is willing to make that change? How long would it take to actually shift into a cleaner energy building, sustainable territory, basically?
Well, it somewhat depends on the existing infrastructure. So older cities are, of course, going to have more challenges in doing retrofitting of existing infrastructure. Newer cities can not make the mistakes that the older cities already made. By contrast, though, more dense cities, which tend to be older cities, have the advantage that they can use things like centralized transportation systems, and networks encourage people to bike or to walk to their destinations. So each city, I think, has its strengths and has its weaknesses in terms of implementing a plan to become more sustainable. For the city that my incubator is located in, Somerville, Massachusetts, the mayor has set a goal of carbon neutrality by 2050. So that's the time scale that I think may be reasonable for a city. Other cities have set different goals, some aspect of that by 2030, by 2020, by 2040. I think the important thing here is to be able to set goals, milestones, and then work towards those goals. This is not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen at the same time scale for every city, but it's important that we say publicly that we're moving forward. It's important that we set these goals and that we move towards overcoming these challenges and moving towards carbon neutrality.
Well, thank you very much, Emily Reichert, for this interview.
You're so welcome. My pleasure.